Ever looked at something broken, thrown away, or forgotten, and wondered if it could be beautiful again? Here at Nest Nature, we believe every piece of trash holds a hidden story, and in this video, we'll show you how bottles, tires, cups, and even old junk can be reborn into stunning DIY garden ideas. This video has timestamps so you can jump to the projects you need. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you enjoy what you see, don't just watch, bring it to life with your own creativity and what you already have at home. Maybe to you, I'm just another voice in the noise. But behind these ideas is a dream, and a small family holding on to it. When you like, when you comment, when you subscribe, it keeps that dream alive. One click is more than support, it's hope. Thank you for being here, and thank you for truly seeing us. There is something undeniably magical about turning what was once considered trash into a beacon of beauty. Imagine walking into a garden where sunlight dances across rows of recycled glass bottles, each painted in a different shade of the rainbow. What was once forgotten, lying in bins or abandoned corners, now stands proudly as a radiant garden fence, a vibrant boundary that does not divide but unites. The bottles are arranged in careful rows, their tops pointing skyward like a chorus of colorful guardians. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet shimmer under the daylight, transforming a simple border into a living piece of art. As the light filters through, the glass casts playful patterns across the soil, making even the simplest marigold look as if it is glowing from within. Chrysanthemums sway gently nearby, their autumn petals catching hints of refracted light, while asters bloom with delicate resilience. This rainbow fence does more than edge a garden bed, it invites joy. Children stop in wonder, tracing their hands along the smooth painted surfaces. Neighbors pause at the sight, surprised at how something so humble could transform into a piece of wonder. In the evening, as the sun dips low, the bottles hold on to the last golden rays, glowing softly as if lit from within, guiding footsteps along the pathways. The story of these bottles is also the story of renewal. Each glass container was once emptied and discarded, a vessel with no purpose left. But in this garden, they are reborn, not just as decoration, but as inspiration. They remind us that color and creativity can bloom in the unlikeliest of places, and that beauty often emerges from what we choose to see differently. Placed against the lush backdrop of an English cottage-style yard, with climbing vines and a rustic pergola nearby. The rainbow fence feels perfectly at home. It frames not only the flowers within but the very spirit of the garden itself, cheerful, resourceful, and endlessly alive. It whispers a promise that every forgotten thing holds a hidden story, waiting to shine again under the sun. There is a delightful charm in giving shape to the ordinary, in coaxing forgotten objects into new lives filled with color and purpose. Imagine stepping out into a small patio where the ground is softened by the glow of pastel petals, but these petals are not crafted from porcelain or wood. They are carved from old tires, painted tenderly into shades of spring, lavender, mint, rose, and sky. Each tire has been reborn, sliced into gentle arcs to mimic the curves of blossoms. Arranged around the patio's edge, they form a playful garden border that feels both whimsical and rooted in rustic creativity. The blossoms encircle flower beds where marigolds burst like little suns, chrysanthemums open wide with autumn fire, and asters lift their purple faces to the breeze. Together, they weave a tapestry of resilience, showing that both plants and objects can bloom again with a second chance. In the soft light of morning, dew collects along the painted rims, turning each petal into a jewel. The vibrant colors seem to hum against the backdrop of green vines and wooden fences. In the afternoon, the borders cast gentle shadows over the stones, a reminder that beauty does not always come from newness, but from vision. Visitors are often caught by surprise. "Are those really tires?" they ask, incredulous, leaning closer to trace the hand-painted strokes. Children laugh as they imagine the borders as giant flowers lining a secret fairy pathway. In the evening, as lanterns strung from a pergola glow overhead, the painted tires soften into silhouettes of blossoms, their colors muted but their presence still radiant. This border is more than decoration. It is a story of transformation. What once rolled forgotten along roadsides now sits still with dignity, holding space for flowers, framing the joy of gatherings, and giving a playful edge to the patio where friends share tea and laughter. It is in these simple acts of reinvention that a garden becomes more than soil and petals, it becomes a canvas. A place where imagination paints borders, where trash blossoms into treasure, and where every corner holds a reminder that beauty can rise again from what we once overlooked. In the quiet corner of a garden, there is a song that does not come from birds or wind. It is the gentle trickle of water, slipping from one vessel to another, whispering a melody of peace. The vessels are not stone or steel, but humble teacups once forgotten at the back of kitchen shelves. Now, painted with tender care in soft pastels and floral patterns, they lean into one another, creating a waterfall that feels as though it belongs to a dream. The first cup tips, releasing a silver thread of water into the next, and then into another, until the stream finds its way into a moss-lined basin at the bottom. Around this little fountain, chrysanthemums open their layered petals like golden suns, asters lift their violet crowns, and marigolds glow with warmth. Together, the flowers and the water create a tableau of movement and stillness, the flowing stream and the steadfast blue. The Teacup waterfall corner is not grand in size, but it is abundant in spirit. It gives a tiny yard or patio a voice, filling the air with the sound of serenity. Visitors pause here, leaning closer, listening to the rhythmic fall of droplets. Children watch the cups carefully, amazed that such ordinary objects could hold such magic. In the evening, as the garden grows quiet, lanterns or soft fairy lights illuminate the painted cups, making them gleam as though lit from within. The water continues its endless journey, a reminder that beauty does not need to be loud to be felt. It only needs to flow, gently and sincerely. These teacups once carried warm tea and conversations long past. Now, in their second life, they carry something even more precious, a sense of wonder. They turn a forgotten corner into a sanctuary, a place where the mind can rest and the heart can wander. This is the charm of upcycling, giving voice to the discarded, allowing what was once overlooked to sing again. In this waterfall, time itself feels softer. The garden breathes with a quiet rhythm, and every drop falling from cup to cup whispers the same truth: beauty flows where imagination allows it. As twilight falls and the first stars peek into the evening sky, the garden begins to whisper a different kind of magic. Along the winding pathway, small figures glow gently, each one a piggy bank reborn. Once they guarded coins and tiny treasures, now they cradle light, guiding footsteps with warmth and charm. Painted in shades of pink, turquoise, and golden yellow, the piggy banks line the path like cheerful guardians. From their hollow bellies, soft light spills through tiny cutouts, casting playful patterns onto the stones below. Nearby, marigolds seem to blush brighter, their golden petals echoing the glow, while asters and chrysanthemums nod in agreement as if sharing in the secret. The glow pathway is both whimsical and grounding. It transforms a simple garden walk into an experience, a gentle invitation to wander, to pause, to breathe. Children delight in the glowing pigs, running ahead to watch the light dance across their shoes. Adults smile softly, marveling at the ingenuity, how an object so humble, once forgotten in attics and cupboards, could now lead the way with such beauty. In the stillness of night, the pathway feels almost enchanted. The lights are not harsh but tender, reminding all who pass that brightness need not be overwhelming to be comforting. The piggy banks stand in quiet pride, having traded their past purpose for a new one, no longer storing coins, but storing light, storing wonder. There is also a story of thrift and vision woven into the pathway. What others might discard as junk has been painted, polished, and transformed. Each piggy bank carries not just light, but a testament to creativity, that beauty can be affordable, sustainable, and deeply personal. As the evening deepens, the glow becomes softer, like embers of a gentle fire. Walking along this path feels like stepping into a dream, where laughter echoes, flowers glow, and the night itself seems kinder. The piggy bank glow pathway proves that gardens are not only made of soil and blossoms, they are made of stories, of reinvention, and of light shining through the unexpected. There is a garden where the sea has found its way inland, not with waves or tides, but through color and imagination. Along the edges of the flower beds, rows of recycled bottles stand tall, painted in hues of turquoise, seafoam, and deep cobalt. Together, they create the impression of ocean waters captured in glass, a seascape edging that shimmers under the touch of the sun. Each bottle, once discarded and forgotten, now holds a story of renewal. Their smooth curves echo the rhythm of waves, their colors mirroring the endless horizon of the sea. Placed side by side, they form a border that does more than mark the garden's boundary. It transforms it into a canvas. As sunlight streams through, the bottles glow like fragments of the ocean itself, scattering reflections onto the soil and the petals nearby. Within this edging, marigolds burst with golden fire, asters lift their purple-blue faces, and Japanese anemones sway with quiet elegance. The contrast of fiery blooms against the cool glass blues creates a balance of warmth and calm, earth and water, flower and sea. Sedum autumn joy rises sturdily, echoing the resilience of coral reefs beneath ocean waves. Visitors pause, captivated by the unexpected. Children lean in, imagining the bottles as treasures washed ashore, while adults are drawn into memories of beaches and breezes, of places where sky meets water in endless embrace. The garden no longer feels confined, it stretches outward, boundless, like the sea. As evening arrives, lanterns flicker under a nearby pergola, and the bottles continue to glimmer, their painted blues deepening into mystery. The garden takes on the atmosphere of a coastal retreat, a sanctuary where one can rest among blooms while feeling the whisper of tides that exist only in color and light. This seascape edging is not merely decoration. It is a reminder that even in the smallest spaces, a patio, a backyard, a tiny front yard, the vastness of the sea can be summoned. Through imagination and care, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and what was once trash becomes a vision of the ocean's eternal beauty. In the language of gardens, balance is often the most poetic expression. The union of bamboo and recycled tires tells this story with quiet strength, a dialogue between the natural and the repurposed, the rustic and the playful. Imagine stepping into a backyard where bamboo poles rise gracefully, their golden hues weathered by time, forming a rustic fence that hums with tradition. Along the base, old tires, once heavy with forgotten journeys, have been reborn. Cut into clean shapes and painted in pastel tones of lavender, sage, and cream, they sit harmoniously against the bamboo's natural grain. Together, they create a border that feels both ancient and refreshingly new. Within this frame, flowers thrive. Marigolds burst like tiny suns, chrysanthemums unfold in layers of fire and gold, and asters scatter their soft blues and purples like a painter's brushstrokes. Sedum autumn joy rises resiliently, offering texture and depth, while Japanese anemones sway gracefully, their petals delicate against the sturdiness of tire and bamboo. The rustic bamboo and tire mix is more than a practical edge, it is a fusion of worlds. Bamboo, with its timeless role in traditional gardens, speaks of strength and grace. Tires, painted and reshaped, tell a modern tale of creativity and renewal. Together, they prove that contrast can be harmony, that opposites can create beauty when placed side by side. Visitors notice the unexpected combination. Some admire the way the earthy tones of bamboo embrace the playful colors of the tires. Others marvel at how natural and man-made elements can blend so seamlessly, each enhancing the other's character. In the evening, lanterns hung from the bamboo cast soft light over the painted tires, deepening their colors and highlighting the blossoms that lean into their embrace. This border becomes a place of story, of journeys once taken by rubber wheels, of forests whispered through bamboo stalks, now brought together in a single garden corner. It stands as a testament that sustainability need not sacrifice charm, and that creativity finds its fullest bloom when it honors both tradition and reinvention. In such spaces, the garden becomes more than a plot of soil. It becomes a lesson that beauty lies in mixing, in daring to combine, in seeing not what something was, but what it can become. In the intimacy of a tiny yard, even the smallest gestures carry weight. Here, imagination finds delight not in grandeur, but in charm. Scattered among the flowers stand towers of teacups, whimsical sculptures rising playfully toward the sky. Each cup once held warm tea and quiet conversation, yet now, painted in bright pastels and balanced with care, they rise as columns of creativity. The towers shimmer with soft pinks, mint greens, sunny yellows, and sky blues, their colors harmonizing with the blossoms around them. At the base, marigolds burst like sparks of gold, chrysanthemums unfold with autumnal brilliance, and asters spread their violet petals like stars across the soil. Between the blooms, sedum autumn joy stands sturdy, while Japanese anemones offer grace, their white petals whispering against the vibrant backdrop. There is a childlike wonder in these cup towers. They tilt ever so slightly, as though defying balance, yet remain steadfast, a quiet metaphor for resilience. Visitors smile as they pause to admire them, surprised at how ordinary teacups can become sculptures of joy. Children giggle, imagining the towers as stairways for fairies, while adults linger, drawn to the nostalgia of holding tea once shared, now reborn as art in the garden. In the morning, dew collects along the rims, each droplet sparkling like a tiny gemstone. As sunlight spills into the yard, the colors brighten, casting cheerful reflections onto the soil. By evening, under the gentle glow of lanterns, the towers seem almost enchanted, their painted surfaces glowing softly against the darkness. These teacup towers are not grand, but they are deeply human. They speak of resourcefulness, of choosing beauty where others might see only clutter. They bring intimacy to small spaces, reminding us that even a yard the size of a pocket can hold wonder when imagination is poured generously. In their playful balance, the towers carry a quiet message, that joy is not measured by size or cost, but by the willingness to see possibility in the overlooked. They are little monuments of reinvention, rising quietly among the blooms, standing as proof that creativity does not need much space to grow tall. In the stillness of a garden evening, the gazebo becomes a stage for light. From its beams hang bottles once empty, once forgotten, now reborn as chandeliers. Painted in tender pastels or rustic earth tones, each glass vessel cradles a gentle glow, filling the space beneath with warmth and wonder. As the sun sinks low and twilight deepens, the bottles awaken. Their painted surfaces soften under the touch of light, colors melting into lavender, turquoise, and golden amber. Hanging in clusters, they form a glowing canopy above the heads of those who gather. Laughter feels softer here, conversations linger longer, and the garden itself seems to breathe more slowly under their gentle radiance. Below, flowers thrive as companions to this evening theater. Marigolds stand like lanterns of their own, chrysanthemums unfold layers of fire, and asters scatter their starry blooms across the earth. Sedum autumn joy offers texture, while Japanese anemones sway like dancers in the night breeze. Together, they anchor the gazebo in a sea of color, a reminder that beauty is not only above but also around. Guests pause at the sight of the chandeliers. Some tilt their heads back to marvel at the bottles, each glowing as though holding a piece of the evening sky. Children giggle, imagining the lights as bottled fireflies, while adults smile at the ingenuity of turning trash into treasure. The charm of the gazebo bottle chandeliers lies not only in their glow but in their story. Each bottle once held water, soda, or wine, destined for disposal. Yet here they find their second life, not diminished but elevated, not discarded but celebrated. They transform the gazebo from a simple shelter into a sanctuary, a place where moments are lit by the light of creativity. In the cool air of night, as stars begin to prick the heavens, the bottles echo the cosmos. They shimmer quietly, guiding eyes upward, reminding us that gardens are not bound to earth alone. They can hold pieces of the sky, captured in glass and paint, shared in laughter and silence alike. This chandelier of bottles is not just decoration, it is poetry in light, an invitation to see magic in the ordinary, and a promise that even in small acts of reinvention, beauty will always find a way to shine. There is a special comfort found in farmhouse gardens, a warmth that comes not from perfection, but from creativity woven with simplicity. In the center of such a space stands a bench unlike any other. Its frame is built not of wood or stone, but of recycled tires stacked with care, painted in soft farmhouse tones of cream, sage, and pale blue. From their hollow centers, flowers spill outward, marigolds glowing with gold, chrysanthemums bursting in lead fire, asters blooming like scattered stars. The bench is both seat and sculpture, a place to rest and a garden in itself. Sitting here feels like being embraced by blossoms, the air sweet with their fragrance and alive with the quiet hum of bees. Sedum autumn joy stretches nearby, sturdy and vibrant, while Japanese anemones add their graceful white blooms to the tapestry. Every detail whispers of ingenuity, the blending of function and beauty, of thrift and artistry. In the morning light, dew pearls along the painted rims of the tires, making them glisten as though dusted with silver. By afternoon, the colors glow brighter against the deepening green of vines climbing nearby fences and pergolas. When evening comes, lanterns hanging from the pergola spill soft light onto the bench, transforming it into a sanctuary where time slows, where stories linger in the air. Neighbors who pass by often pause, drawn by curiosity. "Is that really made from tires?" they ask, wonder in their voices. What they see is more than a bench. It is the spirit of reinvention, the power of seeing beauty where others see only waste. It is thrift turned into treasure, function dressed in flowers. Children climb onto the bench, laughing as petals brush against their shoulders. Adults sit quietly, warmed not just by the sun but by the knowledge that sustainability can be beautiful, that creativity can bloom in the most unexpected places. This farmhouse tire bloom bench is more than furniture. It is a living piece of art, a gathering place, a symbol of joy born from resourcefulness. It tells the story that in every garden, there is room for imagination, and in every act of reinvention, there is a chance for beauty to sit with us a while. In a quiet corner of the garden, where imagination takes root as easily as flowers, the smallest of wonders wait to be discovered. Here, teacups once chipped and forgotten are transformed into fairy gardens, tiny sanctuaries of magic and bloom. Painted in pastel hues of pink, mint, and sky blue, each cup holds a world within. A carpet of moss, miniature blossoms, and whimsical trinkets that suggest the presence of unseen guests. Placed carefully along a rustic stone border, the cups invite closer inspection. Chrysanthemums peek out like towers of gold, marigolds scatter their sunny faces, and asters nod gently in violet shades. Together, they create a stage where stories unfold, where perhaps fairies dance at twilight, or tiny creatures wander cobblestone paths made of pebbles. Japanese anemones bloom nearby, their elegance adding grace to the playfulness, while sedum autumn joy provides texture that makes the display feel abundant and alive. There is joy in the details. A teacup might hold a miniature cottage sculpted from clay, its roof draped in moss. Another might cradle a tiny archway leading nowhere but into imagination. Each piece sparks delight, not only for children but also for adults who find themselves smiling softly, remembering the wonder of childhood stories whispered under starlit skies. In the morning, dew gathers along the rims of the cups, glistening like crystal crowns. As the day warms, sunlight spills across the pastel paints, brightening the fairy homes until they glow like jewels scattered in the garden. By nightfall, lanterns or candles placed nearby give the scene a dreamlike glow, as if the fairies themselves had lit their lanterns to guide weary travelers. The cutest cup fairy garden is more than decoration, it is an invitation. It calls to the curious to bend low, to notice the overlooked, to believe that beauty and wonder can live in the smallest of spaces. It reminds us that a garden is not only for the grand display of flowers but also for the secret corners where imagination blooms. With each cup, a story is told, that even what is chipped, faded, or cast aside can hold worlds of joy. All it takes is a little vision, a little care, and the willingness to believe that magic often fits in the palm of your hand. There are gardens that sing quietly, and then there are those that laugh out loud with color and creativity. Beneath a pergola, where vines weave their green canopy, hangs a collection of art born from what others might have thrown away. Bottles once emptied, scraps of metal once bent, and even piggy banks once forgotten now dangle as ornaments, painted in brilliant hues of red, turquoise, and golden yellow. Together, they form a symphony of shapes and colors, junk no longer, but joy in motion. The pergola becomes a gallery, not of polished perfection but of imagination. With each breeze, the hanging art sways gently, catching sunlight that spills across the blooms below. Chrysanthemums blaze in lead gold, marigolds glow like embers, and asters scatter their violet petals as if applauding the display above. Sedum autumn joy rises proudly, its clusters echoing the rustic tones of the painted ornaments, while Japanese anemones dance gracefully beneath. Visitors are captivated by the unexpected harmony. The clink of glass, the soft sway of metal, and the play of painted light create a living installation, one that changes with each hour of the day. In the morning, the ornaments sparkle with dew, reflecting the rising sun. By afternoon, they scatter a rainbow of colors across the patio stones. And when evening falls, lanterns hidden among the vines illuminate them softly, turning the pergola into a dreamlike sanctuary. This pergola junk hanging art is not just decoration, it is declaration. It says that beauty is not reserved for the new, the flawless, or the expensive. Beauty can be coaxed from the forgotten, the ordinary, the cast aside. With paint and imagination, a bottle becomes a lantern, a metal scrap becomes a sculpture, a teacup becomes a charm. Beneath its canopy, people linger longer. Conversations stretch, laughter flows, and the space feels alive not only with flowers but with stories of reinvention. Children tilt their heads back to watch the ornaments sway, imagining them as treasures left by the wind. Adults, too, find themselves surprised, reminded that sustainability can sparkle, that even junk can glow when given a chance. The pergola holds it all, the weight of flowers, the light of imagination, and the truth that gardens are not only for planting but also for dreaming. Here, in the sway of upcycled art, the ordinary is lifted, and the garden becomes a place where possibility hangs above, shimmering with every breeze. In a world that often rushes, a garden sometimes whispers the importance of stillness. Along the edges of a quiet Zen corner, recycled bottles stand like sentinels, painted in tranquil shades of green and frosted white. Their simplicity is their strength, echoing the purity of water, the calm of moss, and the patience of stone. Together, they form a Japanese bottle Zen edge, a border that does not shout but soothes. The bottles line a raked gravel bed where patterns of waves and ripples invite meditation. Moss spreads like a soft carpet between the stones, its velvet green wrapping the scene in serenity. Nearby, Japanese anemones sway with elegance, their pale petals glowing against the muted glass. Sedum autumn joy provides quiet structure, while asters and chrysanthemums lend subtle color, reminding that beauty can be vibrant yet restrained. This edging is not just a boundary, it is a frame for contemplation. Walking beside it, one feels a slowing of thought, as if the garden itself were teaching the art of simplicity. Each bottle, once discarded and overlooked, now carries dignity in its new form. No longer trash, it is part of a design that honors balance, sustainability, and grace. In the morning, the dew settles lightly on the frosted surfaces, turning the bottles into luminous pearls under soft sunlight. In the afternoon, shadows of bamboo leaves ripple across them like brushstrokes of ink on paper. By evening, as lanterns flicker nearby, the bottles glow with quiet mystery, their presence more felt than seen. Visitors often pause here, hushed without knowing why. Children might run their fingers along the cool glass, tracing its rhythm. Adults stand longer, breathing in the calm, surprised that such peace can be born of such ordinary objects. The Zen edge does not demand attention, yet it holds it effortlessly, teaching that harmony lies not in abundance but in restraint. This Japanese bottle Zen edge tells a gentle story of renewal, of mindfulness, of how design can transform the humble into the sacred. It proves that sustainability can be art, and that gardens are not only places of growth but also sanctuaries of spirit. In its quiet glow, it offers not just beauty for the eye but stillness for the soul. In the heart of a playful garden, something unexpected rises from the earth. Not trees, not shrubs, but mushrooms, larger than life, glowing with colors no forest has ever known. Their caps are crafted from old tires, once worn thin by endless journeys, now reborn in bold shades of red, yellow, blue, and pink. Dotted with patterns of white and gold, they stand as cheerful guardians of creativity, brightening every corner they inhabit. Around these whimsical sculptures, flowers bloom as companions to the magic. Chrysanthemums flare in fiery bursts, marigolds glow like golden lanterns, and asters scatter their purple stars across the soil. Sedum autumn joy adds structure and resilience, while Japanese anemones lean gracefully nearby, softening the scene with their delicate blooms. Together, flowers and tire mushrooms weave a story of joy and imagination. Children are drawn instantly to the sight. They laugh, circling the mushrooms, imagining them as fairy homes or stepping stones into another world. Adults, too, pause with surprise, marveling at the ingenuity of turning something so heavy and forgotten into art that feels light-hearted and alive. The mushrooms speak of playfulness, of freedom from rules, of gardens that dare to smile. In the morning light, the painted caps gleam, dew droplets clinging like jewels. By afternoon, sunlight spills across them, making their colors even brighter, casting playful shadows on the ground. As twilight comes, lanterns tucked among the blooms glow softly, and the mushrooms take on a dreamlike presence, surreal, enchanting, yet entirely real. The color pop tire mushrooms are not only decoration but declaration. They tell us that beauty can be fun, that gardens can hold laughter as well as peace. They remind us that recycling need not be hidden or subtle. It can be bold, daring, and full of color. What once rolled along forgotten roads now stands as a symbol of joy in the garden. They transform not only the space but also the spirit of those who see them, proving that imagination can turn even the most ordinary of objects into extraordinary companions. These mushrooms are more than sculptures. They are a celebration of creativity, of sustainability, of the simple happiness found when color meets courage in a garden designed not just to grow, but to inspire wonder. In the gentle heart of the backyard, a sound of wings fills the air. Birds flit from branch to branch, drawn not only by flowers but by a new offering, a bird bath crafted from teacups. Once forgotten at the back of kitchen shelves, chipped and unused, these cups and saucers now rise in a playful tower, painted in soft shades of lavender, mint, and pale yellow. At the top, water gathers in a shallow saucer, reflecting the sky, inviting feathered guests to drink and bathe. The scene is alive with color and motion. Marigolds burst at the base with golden fire, chrysanthemums open in layers of autumn glow, and asters scatter their violet stars around the stand. Japanese anemones nod gracefully, their white petals swaying in rhythm with the breeze, while sedum autumn joy stands resilient, adding depth and texture to the display. Together, they weave a frame of blooms around the bird bath, turning it into a living centerpiece. Small birds arrive cautiously at first, perching along the rims. Their tiny claws grip the painted porcelain, their feathers shimmering as they lean forward to sip. Then comes the flutter, the splash, the gentle rain of droplets as they dip into the water. The garden, already alive with color, now hums with movement, with life that feels wild yet at home. Children watch in delight, their laughter soft so as not to startle the birds. Adults lean on the pergola posts, smiling quietly at the transformation, at how simple cups, once useless, have become vessels of joy not only for people but for creatures of the air. In the morning, the bird bath glistens with dew and sunlight, each droplet shimmering like a gem. By midday, the cups glow brighter under the sun, their painted colors vivid against the backdrop of ivy and wood. In the evening, as lanterns flicker nearby, the sound of wings continues, reminding all that beauty is not just for the eye but also for those who share our gardens. This backyard cup bird bath is more than upcycled art. It is an offering, a bridge between the human and the natural, a reminder that creativity can nurture not only the spirit but also the creatures around us. From the simplest of vessels rises a fountain of joy, shared by all who come near. is a kind of beauty that comes not from perfection but from reinvention. In the garden, thrifty sculptures rise from what once was junk, each piece a testimony to creativity's endless reach. Old piggy banks, painted in bold colors, now stand as quirky figures. Bottles shimmer like jewels reborn, and bent scraps of metal twist into shapes that mimic flowers or wings. Together, they form a gallery not of polished marble or bronze, but of imagination brought to life in vibrant color. Marigolds burn like tiny suns at their feet, chrysanthemums spread their layered crowns, and asters scatter their violet brilliance, softening the edges of the sculptures. Japanese anemones nod gently in the breeze, while sedum autumn joy provides grounding texture, weaving the flowers into harmony with the art. Each bloom seems to recognize the sculptures not as strangers but as companions, sharing the same soil, the same story of renewal. The sculptures carry character, playful, rustic, sometimes abstract, but always joyful. Visitors pause, curious at first, then smile as they realize the genius behind them. "That was once a bottle," they whisper, or "that's a piggy bank." Surprise turns into admiration, for it is not just beauty they see but also possibility. In the morning, dew clings to the painted surfaces, making every figure gleam as though dusted with diamonds. By afternoon, sunlight dances across their bright colors, scattering reflections among the petals. As evening falls, lanterns hidden nearby illuminate them, casting shadows that stretch playfully across the garden, turning the space into a living theater. These thrifty junk sculptures are more than decoration. They are stories told in color and form, each piece a reminder that what we discard may still hold potential. They stand as guardians of creativity, showing that gardens need not only grow plants but also nurture imagination. For children, they are playmates, figures that spark tales of fairies, animals, or machines. For adults, they are inspiration, proof that sustainability can be beautiful, that thrift can be art. In every glance, they invite both wonder and reflection. And so the garden becomes more than a place of flowers. It becomes a celebration of vision, a space where even junk takes on new life. A place that whispers, beauty is everywhere, if only we choose to see it.